Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I will continue bringing you the next chapter of the story about single mother Hoai Ca and police officer Hung. After their farewell, Hung officially arrived at his new post. The place was unfamiliar, busy, and full of challenges. Among new colleagues, he had to adapt quickly while silently carrying the heavy longing for Hoai Ca and little Tony. Every night, in the cramped shared dorm room, Hung would sit quietly staring at the small watch Hoai Ca once gave him, reminding himself that he must work hard to soon save enough money to buy a phone, just to hear her familiar voice back home. Meanwhile, back in the village, after her sudden fall on the mountain, Hoai Ca still had blood matted in her hair and her breathing was faint. Despite her frail strength, Mother Ha clutched her tightly, shaking her gently while trembling in desperate prayers for a miracle to save her daughter. The silence of the deep forest made the scene even more hopeless. She knew she could not carry Hoai Ca home alone, yet she also could not abandon her in the wilderness. In that critical moment, a faint glimmer of hope appeared when a passerby in the forest happened to hear Mother Ha's weak cries for help. Would they be able to bring Hoai Ca back to the village in time for treatment, or would it all be too late? And far away, would Hung receive the news soon enough to return? Stay tuned for today's episode to uncover the tense and unexpected turns of this story. On the winding trail leading up the mountain, Hoai Ca still held in her hand a bamboo basket containing a few medicinal herbs Mother Ha had just explained to her. But with a single misstep, she slipped and tumbled down, her head striking a rock hard. Blood soaked into her hair as she immediately fell unconscious, lying motionless in the depths of the forest. Mother Ha panicked, her trembling hands pressing against Hoai Ca's wound. She hurried to pick nearby leaves, chewed them into a paste, and applied them to her head to stop the bleeding. Yet Hoai Ca's faint, fragile breathing was like a thread about to snap, leaving the old woman clutching her in her arms, choking out desperate prayers. Heavens above, please don't take this poor child away. As night began to fall, darkness cloaked the forest. The chorus of insects mixed with the whistling whine through the leaves, intensifying Mother Ha's despair. She knew her aged body could no longer endure the climb to carry Hoai Ca back down the mountain. Meanwhile, back at home, Ha returned from work only to find the house eerily empty. He called out hoarsely, searched all around the garden, but neither his mother nor Hoai Ca was anywhere to be found. A terrible premonition struck him, and he hurriedly followed the familiar path up the mountain. His voice echoed through the forest. "Mother! Hoai Ca!" At last, from afar, he heard his mother's faint reply. Rushing toward the sound, the sight before him froze his heart. Hoai Ca lay unconscious in the old woman's arms, blood still seeping from the wound on her forehead. Overcome with fear, he dropped to his knees and shook her gently. "Hoai Ca! Hold on. I'll take you home right now." He lifted her onto his back and hurried down the mountain. With every step, her fragile breathing weighed heavily on his shoulders, but he clenched his teeth and pressed on. When they finally reached home, thanks to Mother Ha's timely herbal remedies, the bleeding was stopped. After a long, anxious night, Hoai Ca finally opened her eyes. Tears of relief streamed down Mother Ha's face, while Ha clasped her hand tightly, whispering, "You're awake, thank God, you're awake." Hoai Ca caught the worried gazes of both of them and gave a faint smile. In that moment, they all knew her life had just been snatched back from the hands of death. After Hoai Ca regained consciousness, her pale face slowly regained some color, and everyone finally let out a sigh of relief. Mother Ha trembled as she held her cold hand, tears falling endlessly onto the back of it. "Thank goodness you woke up. I was so scared. If anything had happened to you, how could I ever face Hung? He entrusted you to me, yet I was so helpless." Ha stood nearby, his heart burning with worry. He placed a bowl of warm water he had prepared into Hoai Ca's hands, his voice heavy with concern. Please drink this to feel better. I don't think we can keep this from Hung. If he knew you fell like that, he would be terribly worried. After all, he trusted my mother to look after you, and if something worse had happened. Hearing this, Hoai Ca immediately shook her head and forced a faint smile. No, don't tell him. It's just a minor injury. A few days with medicine and herbal compresses and I'll recover. If he finds out, he'll surely abandon his work to return. I don't want him torn once again between his career and me. He has already sacrificed too much. I refuse to be his burden this time. Mother Ha squeezed her hand, her eyes filled with sorrow. But dear child, nothing matters more than your life. If you still feel pain, you must go to the hospital for a proper check. This old woman cannot rest easy otherwise. Hoai Ca smiled, a fragile yet resilient smile. Thank you, Mother. But I can feel it, I'll be fine. Just a few days of rest, medicine, and your herbal remedies, and I'll recover. Please don't worry too much about me. I don't want to add to your burdens. Deep inside, Hoai Ca knew the truth, her injury was far from simple. Every small movement sent dizziness coursing through her head, but she chose silence. To her, Hung's faith and efforts in the distant post were more important. She couldn't let one fall destroy what he was striving to build. That night, while everyone else was asleep, Hoai Ca lay restless in the small room. The flickering oil lamp cast her thin, weary shadow on the wall. Her hand gently touched the wound on her head, sending sharp pain straight to her heart. Yet the physical pain was nothing compared to the wave of longing for Hung's silent tears streamed down her face as she whispered into the darkness. Focus on your duty, my love. I will stay strong. As long as I know you are safe and well, I will endure too. Far away, after a long, exhausting day at work, Hung also couldn't fall asleep. The dormitory room was silent except for the ticking of the clock. Absent-mindedly placing his hand on his chest, he felt something was not right. Images of Hoai Ca and her gentle smile kept flashing before him. He wondered, are Hoai Ca and Tony safe at home? Why does my heart feel so uneasy? With a heavy sigh, he clenched the handkerchief Hoai Ca had given him before his departure. His heart felt bound to hers by an invisible thread, no matter how great the distance between them. Today, Hoai Ca's health was fully restored. After tenderly walking Tony to school, adjusting the strap of his satchel, and reminding him carefully about his studies and meals, she finally felt at ease to return home and begin her day of work. That morning was beautiful, the sky clear and blue, with soft sunlight spreading gold across the orchard behind the house. The avocado trees were in peak season, their branches heavy with glossy green fruit glistening in the morning sun. Hoai Ca put on her weathered conical hat, carried her familiar bamboo basket, and slowly stepped into the garden. The earthy smell of damp soil blended with the sweet fragrance of ripe fruit, filling her with a strange sense of peace. Birds chirped merrily on the tall branches, like a cheerful melody to welcome the new day. Smiling softly, she reached out to pick each plump, shining avocado. Every time a fruit dropped into the basket, the crisp thud rang out, like a rustic countryside rhythm all her own. When the basket was full, she carried it home. Sweat dotted her forehead, yet her eyes shone with joy. In the yard, she washed each avocado clean, skillfully peeled the skins, and separated the golden flesh. The creamy slices went into the blender, its rumble mingling with the wind outside, while the aroma filled her small kitchen. Before long, glasses of thick, jade-green smoothies lined the table. She added a touch of condensed milk, some crushed ice, and garnished them with fresh mint leaves, both beautiful and enticing. Next, Hoai Ca packed the smoothies into a foam box filled with ice, put on her hat, and carried her goods to the market. Her little stall in the corner quickly attracted customers. Merchants stopped by to rest and praised. "Oh my, this avocado smoothie is so cool and creamy. It's been ages since I've had one this good." Schoolchildren, just dismissed, ran up excitedly, begging their mothers to buy them each a glass. Some customers even returned to purchase more to bring home for the family. Standing behind her modest stall, watching people enjoy her drinks, Hoai Ca felt her heart calm. Every small coin she earned was not only income but also a promise to herself, to keep living strong. For a brief moment, Hung's image appeared in her mind. She looked off into the distance and whispered to herself, "My love, I'm doing fine. I'm working hard every day. When you return, I want you to see a stronger Hoai Ca, someone who will give you peace of mind." As the market grew quiet, Hoai Ca packed up her stall. The phone box was empty now, only a few melting ice cubes remained. Sitting beside it, she smiled. Today she had sold everything. The small notes tucked neatly into her pocket carried sweat and love within them. On the road home, the afternoon sun stretched long shadows across the green rice fields. The breeze was cool, carrying the fragrance of young rice stalks. Just then, Tony came running toward her from school, his voice full of joy. "Mom. Today the teacher praised my handwriting." Hoai Ca bent down, gently ruffled his hair, her smile brighter than the sunset itself. Though Hung was far away, here she still had Tony, her work, the simple joys of the market, and the warmth of her neighbors. That was her source of strength, to keep walking forward, waiting faithfully for the day he would return. For Hung, the first day at his new post was filled with turmoil. The unfamiliar streets and the crowded city, devoid of any familiar faces, made him feel as if he had been thrown into an entirely different world. Without Hoai Ca and Tony by his side, every step suddenly felt heavier than ever. What weighed on him most was that neither he nor Hoai Ca had a phone to stay in touch. Every time he missed her, he could only bury the longing deep in his heart, reminding himself to work harder and save every penny to soon buy a phone for her. He thought to himself, as long as I have a phone, I'll be able to hear her gentle voice, to see Tony's face on the screen, it would ease the ache so much. At the office, Hung stepped into the meeting room where his chief and new colleagues had already gathered. The chief kindly introduced the local situation, the key tasks ahead, and the many challenges they would need to overcome. While listening carefully and taking notes, Hung could feel the weight of his new responsibilities. He knew the road ahead would not be easy, but within him burned a quiet determination to do his job well, so that one day he could give Hoai Ca a more secure life. Along with Hung, 2 other officers had also just been assigned there. The 3 quickly became acquainted, sharing a little about their situations. Hung briefly explained that he hadn't yet found a stable place to live and was just hoping to rent a cheap room to get by. Hearing this, a kind colleague offered, "Don't worry. I'm currently staying at a relative's house. They went abroad for work, left the house newly built but empty, and only asked me to watch over it. The place is huge, with lots of rooms and no one else around. If you don't mind, come stay with me. It's better than a cramped rental." Hung hesitated, feeling uneasy. "I'd hate to trouble you. Living off others like that doesn't feel right." The colleague laughed heartily and patted his shoulder. "What trouble? The house is big, and living alone feels lonely. With you there, it'll feel warmer. We're comrades, helping each other in tough times is only natural." After some convincing, Hung finally agreed. That afternoon, he followed his colleague to the house. Just as described, it was spacious and well-built, with a bright red-tiled roof, a wide-open yard, and many rooms still pristine inside. Hung chose a small, tidy room, quietly unpacked his old backpack and a few changes of clothes, and carefully arranged them. Placing the little watch that Hoai Ca had once given him on the wooden table, he sat in silence, gazing at it for a long time. That night, neither Hoai Ca nor Hung could sleep. Outside, the sky was silent, broken only by the rustling wind through the trees and the faint chirping of insects in the dark. Though far apart, their hearts beat in the same rhythm, overflowing with longing and worry. In the small home back in the village, Hoai Ca lay holding Tony in her arms. The boy was fast asleep, his breathing steady, his innocent face soothing his mother's heart just a little. But Hoai Ca's eyes remained wide open. She gazed out the window, where the pale moonlight spread across the empty fields. Her heart tightened with longing for Hung. After so many hardships and storms, happiness had seemed within reach. Yet life forced them apart once again. She whispered silently to herself. "Out there, are you eating well, sleeping soundly? Do you miss me, Miss Tony, the way I miss you right now?" Meanwhile, at his new post, Hung was staying in the spacious home of a colleague. The house was large, with many rooms, but eerily quiet, its real owners having gone abroad for work. His colleague slept soundly in the next room, leaving Hung with a room of his own. Yet the vast space brought him no comfort, instead, its silence deepened his loneliness. He lay on his side, staring at the cold white wall, his eyes wide open. Images of Hoai Ca's gentle smile, her fragile figure, and Tony's innocent cry of Uncle Hung, flickered in his mind. Time and again, he turned to glance at the small watch on the table, the keepsake Hoai Ca had given him before he left. The clock's slow ticking seemed to stretch each second into eternity. In his heart, Hung whispered to himself, "I must stay strong. If I work hard and save money, I can buy a phone for her. Then, even from far away, we could see each other's faces and hear each other's voices. With just that, maybe the distance will hurt less." Outside, moonlight slipped through the cracks of the window, casting his shadow across the cold floor. He sighed, swallowing the wave of longing surging inside him. "Being far away, will you be all right? If anything happens, I wouldn't be there to protect you." The thought pierced his heart, bringing tears to his eyes. Back in her small room, Hoai Ca tightened her grip on Tony's sleeping hand, reassuring herself that as long as her son was by her side, she could be strong enough to wait. Yet deep inside, loneliness and fear still swelled within her. That night, the distance between them felt like an invisible wall. But the bond in their hearts still stretched taut and unbroken. Would their love be strong enough to withstand the trials of time and distance? Would Hoai Ca truly remain safe with Hung so far away? And what other challenges awaited them on the road ahead? Stay tuned for the next episode to find out more.
Xin chào tất cả mọi người đã quay trở lại với kênh của mình. Hôm nay thì mình tiếp tục đưa đến với mọi người câu chuyện về mẹ đơn thân Lý Hoai Ca và cảnh sát Hùng. Mọi người thân mến, như mọi người cũng đã biết thì hiện tại mẹ đơn thân Lý Hoai Ca và cảnh sát Hùng hiện tại đang phải xa cách nhau vì một số vấn đề. Nhưng mà hiện tại cô ấy vẫn đang ở nhà và đã mạnh khỏe lại sau một lần bị ngã. Còn Hùng thì đã đi xa và tình yêu của họ vẫn đang được tiếp diễn trong cái điều kiện là yêu xa. Vậy thì liệu khoảng cách yêu xa và thử thách về yêu xa như thế có thể khiến cho tình cảm của họ phai nhòa hay là khiến cho họ sẽ thay đổi tình cảm với nhau hay không? Liệu còn khó khăn gì mà họ không thể vượt qua hay không? Thì hãy đồng hành cùng mình và để theo dõi xem câu chuyện tình yêu của mẹ đơn thân Lý Hoai Ca và cảnh sát Hùng tiếp theo sẽ diễn biến như thế nào mọi người nhé. Đừng bỏ lỡ bất kỳ video nào nha mọi người. Hẹn gặp lại ở những video sau. Bye bye.